I'm making my way through 12 days of cask strength Texas whiskey using this box of The Jank provided by the Crowded Barrel Whiskey Company in Austin, Texas. I'm on day 5, so let's do this. Welcome to Whisky Riffs. If you're new here, I'm Kevin, and I hope you're enjoying this 12 days of Texas whiskey. They're cask strength, so they're a little bit intense, but I'm ready for finding out what day 5 has to offer. Each of these bottles is from a different Texas distillery, and they're in a different order that's on the bottom of the box, which started off confusing me, but I think after 5 days I could reach in here and grab the right bottle on the first try. Yeah, I think that's right. Let me just check real quick. No, that's what I was expecting. That's good. Let me put this over here. All right. Today is the Treaty Oak Distilling Straight Bourbon Whiskey. A straight bourbon means that we have at least a 2-year-old whiskey, which is good. This one's at 114.5% proof, 57.25% ABV, which actually is lower than the one that I had yesterday. I think that was over 61%, and that was pretty intense. Some of these have been tricky to find the flavors for because just a really high percentage of ABV. And when you're talking about new oak charred barrels and 2 years, they're young, they have a lot of new wood spice to them. So that kind of covers up a lot of the nuanced flavors. But we have another bourbon today. So let me get a glass and pour this one, see what the new Treaty Oak Distilling, not New Treaty, I have no idea what I'm talking about, has to offer. If I can get the cap off the bottle, there we go. And I love that I'm actually getting to taste these because this is another Texas distillery that I have not heard of. It's new for me. It's a glorious thing that we are in the age of whiskey that allows us to have so many different new distilleries that are out there. Think back 30, 40 years, whiskey was an old man's drink. It was dying out. And now we have all these glorious options for drinking whiskey. And I salute them. And I'm just thrilled that Texas is stepping up and putting so much of the new whiskey out there from that state. Of course, being from Texas, these whiskeys are pretty damn dark. So let's start off on the nose. This one's very different from yesterday. I'm getting grassy notes. Not as much cherry sweetness as yesterday. It's kind of a rye finish to me. Now, bourbon, the only requirement as far as grain goes is it has to be 51% corn. So you could have whatever else you want as the rest of the mash. And this may have rye in it. I don't know. It's common to have rye as a secondary grain in a lot of bourbons. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this was a lot of rye because it is really giving me those rye notes that I'm not terribly a fan of, and not a lot of sweetness on the nose. Now the initial taste was a little easier than yesterday's, but still a lot of heat, not as much finish. I'm mostly getting all the spice and the flavor on my tongue. It's not traveling, and I'm getting just a ton of vegetal notes on this one. And there was a little bit of citrus there right on that last nosing. Starting to get a little bit of vanilla, but not a lot more on the nose. Now on the taste, I'm starting to see some fruit notes. I'm getting a little bit of cherry, a lot of oak spice. Let me throw some water in here, see if I can pull some more notes out of this. At this level of ABV, the water does help to crank it down just a little bit and maybe wake up some of the other flavors. Ooh, that was different. Okay, now I'm getting a leather note. Very different, much sweeter. For a second there, I thought I had banana. Now that's gone. I like the nose better. Yeah, this still tastes like a rye whiskey to me. So I'm probably going to check this out, do some research on it, because I'm betting if they actually publish the information about their mash bill, that Treaty Oak is using corn and a high rye side of the bourbon mash. And if you know anything about Treaty Oak, I'd certainly like to hear about it. I mean, sometimes I look online and I get almost no information from some of these sites. So if you know Treaty Oak Distilling and you know their straight bourbon whiskey, let me know in the comments below and we'll have a discussion about it. Well, I have to say, This isn't out of the box so far my favorite of the whiskeys, but I'd certainly like to hear your opinion if you have something that's different and maybe some notes that I'm missing on this day 5 journey into the Texas whiskey distilleries. And until our next episode, which is tomorrow, take care of yourself. Take care of those people around you, and cheers. I'm right about the rye. What do I get? Bonus points?